Hello and welcome to the stream. So last week I put a science lab in orbit around the Mun, and between streams I played a bit offline and processed some of the data that was in it, unlocked some technology, and now we are 10 days away from our Duna launch window, and but I should be able to set up a probe, so let's get to that. Now the probe design is going to be one that I've already built, because as I've mentioned in previous streams, I have a lot of my craft from previous games in here, and as we go along, I'll be able to actually use more and more of them. Oh, right. Satellite, not satellite. So, this is our basic probe. It's got a big giant antenna. This is the biggest type of relay antenna in the game. So once we get this... Oh, hi Croaky Hopper. Yeah, I'll be sending an unmanned probe to Duna. I'll be, well, to Ike specifically. I'll be putting this satellite in orbit around Ike. So yeah, it's got a big giant relay satellite, which will make any future missions to Duna or Ike a lot easier, since they won't need to have big giant antenna of their own. They can just use the relay. It's got an ore scanner here and another ore scanner here that's more precise, although this isn't actually all that useful. If I'm actually career mode, yeah, it's a career mode game. I've gone through this a few times before, so I'm not really doing anything new here, but yeah, anyway, yeah, so and I'm just kind of explaining how this works. You might already know all this, but I get a lot of my views on YouTube, and I'm assuming some of them don't, so I'm still gonna go over all this for the sake of any beginners that are watching. So like I've been saying, this is my satellite. It's got a big giant antenna. It's got an ore scanner that'll tell us where the ore deposits are on the planet, on the moon, so we know where to put our mining base later on. It's got another ore scanner, which is a little bit more precise, but it only really works when you're actually controlling the satellite, so it's not that useful, but I like to put one on anyway, just because in real life I'd like to have a more precise idea of where the ore is, even if it doesn't really work all that well in game. I've got a whole bunch of batteries, and part of the reason why I have those batteries is because I've got this ravioli detector, which is one of the more advanced science experiments that it gets a lot of data, so it needs a lot of power to send it back, and it's also the only science experiment that will actually get different data when you're in orbit over different parts of the planet. A lot of other ones will give you different data when you're landed on different parts of the planet, but when you're in orbit, it just says you're in space around the planet, and you can only do the experiment once if you want to get the data back from it. But this can be done more than once, so I like to put it on my probes. And this is another science experiment. It's a thermometer, the most basic science experiment in the game. And I put these on the probe because sometimes you get missions to just get science from orbit around a planet or around a moon. And this will let me do that easily, and it doesn't take very much power to send its data back, since it doesn't get very much data. And I've got these solar panels, which will provide power. I can retract them now because we're in the vehicle assembly building, but I won't be able to retract them once we're on the mission. Once they're out, they stay out. But that's fine, since nothing's going to be flying near this satellite, so there's not really much of a risk of anything running into the panels and breaking them off. Okay, so let's build this into an actual ship. It's another... Oh, hi, Arctic Rich Gaming. Welcome back. I remember you were here at the end of last stream, so nice to see you again. So this is going to have a one of the more unusual engines in the game, which is an ion engine. Okay, thanks. Yeah, I'm still trying to build up the... Oh, it looks like I've got 5 viewers. I think that might be a record, except for a couple of times when I was rated. But yeah, I'm trying to build up this channel and get to the point where I've steadily got a chat going, and we might be making some progress towards that. So thanks to everyone who's here. So as I was saying, again, I'm going to be using an ion engine for this probe. Ion engines are interesting in that they have two fuel sources. They take xenon gas and electric power, and electric power tends to be what runs out first. But since we got solar panels on this satellite, we can just recharge our electric power by absorbing more sunlight. Now, ion engines are limited in their use. They are not very powerful at all, which is fine for something as small as this satellite. The xenon gas that they use can only be launched from Kerbin. Other types of fuel can be mined and processed on other planets and moons, but xenon gas can't be. So that limits its use. And well, like I said, it's very low power. It depends heavily on how much electricity you have. So I mostly just use it for these satellites. It lets me, deorbit them if I need to, make orbital adjustments if I need to. But I won't be using ion engines very much elsewhere in the game, other than for these satellites that I put in orbit around the various planets. And that will be the last stage, so I'm going to have to put some more engines on here to actually get it to Duna. Luckily, it doesn't take too much to get to Duna. Duna is reasonably close by. So let's set this to vacuum mode, 2023. Yeah, I think if I can get into Kerbin orbit without using this engine very much, that should get me enough to get to Duna. Actually, before I do that though, I'm going to double check that by going to the orbital transfer window calculator, which is a separate website that I use for calculating transfer windows. I'll just bring up the URL for that because it's a very useful thing to have. So let's see, we are at year 1, day 220. So, and we are going from Kerbin to Duna, and it's saying our total delta V requirement will be 1,692 meters per second. So yeah, provided I don't need to use too much of the fuel in this engine to circularize, it should be more than enough to get me to Duna. So let's get rid of that text overlay again, so we don't need that anymore. And now let's build the ship that'll actually, well, the stage that'll actually get into orbit. Let's see, how heavy are we? About 5 tons, which should be okay for a skipper engine. Oh, wait. I need a fuel tank for that engine. Just to be safe, I think I'll give it a little bit of a solid boost. I don't know if I actually need that, but I'll just put, a couple of small solid rocket boosters on just to be safe. And let's launch. Oh, we got a little bit sticking out the side. I don't think that's gonna make a difference, so. Okay, we are at about 20 seconds apoapsis when we went past the 45-degree line, which is a pretty good curve, I think. I'm pretty satisfied with that. That should get us into orbit. And our time to apoapsis is still going up. Starting to overheat, but that's okay. I'm almost ready to cut the engines. There. Engines are cut. Just going to coast into the upper atmosphere. We're 5 kilometers from apoapsis, so that's where I'd like to start burning again. Yeah, and I think I got a good amount of fuel. I'll be able to drop this engine with the tank fully empty, but I won't have to use too much fuel after that to finish circularizing. I'm going to set the Mun as my target just so that I get a better idea of where the equator is, and it looks like our apoapsis is right on the equator, so I should be able to adjust our plane while I'm circularizing, which is good because that saves some fuel. Deploy this to drop some weight. Oh, I actually still have more fuel than I need, so I'm gonna have to make sure to drop the stage before I'm fully circularized, because I don't want to leave debris in orbit. Screwed that up, but it's still, we're not quite circularized, so that thing is still going to contact the atmosphere, so it's still going to deorbit, just a little bit more slowly than I'd like. Okay, it's now in orbit. Let's make sure we don't run out of electricity. And now let's set up our transfer node. So I'm going back to the launch window planner website that I popped up the URL for before. Just make sure. Okay, so we want year 1, day 231. So to get that, I'm going to have to punch in year 0, day 230, because for some reason, years and days start at 0 when you're punching in dates for a maneuver. I don't know why it does that. It doesn't do that anywhere else in the game. And another problem that I mentioned in the previous stream, but I'm going to mention again now, is that now if I move this node, which I'm going to have to do to get it pointed to the right direction to take me to Duna, it'll just erase what I just punched in for the date. It'll assume that I just want to burn on my next orbit, which I don't want to do. So what I'm going to have to do to fix that is transfer to another ship. Doesn't matter which ship. This is a pod that I rescued a crew member from when I was playing between streams. I did rescue quite a few more crew members, so now I get 12 people in my crew, 4 complete mission squads, and so that'll be useful once we start sending manned missions to other planets. And I didn't take their pod out of orbit, which I'm gonna have to do later. So now we have to, well, let's set Duna as our target and get our height for the apoapsis, and now start moving this around until the apoapsis goes up. Yeah, we want to get it as high as it can go. Okay, that's as high as it can go. And now let's see if we are high enough. No, we are not. So, but we are in the right general position now, so if I just give it a bit more beans, I think that was too many beans. And I'm going to have to adjust this again now because we've given it more beans. Get the plan in the way so I can actually read the numbers. Oh, this'll get me right there. Actually, I think I've given it too many beans then. I want it to be encountering the planet right around apoapsis. Okay. Now, zoom out and make some final adjustments. Okay, that'll get us to Duna, and we'll be able to make some adjustments here, which is nice and high in our orbit, so we won't have to expend too much fuel to make those adjustments. So yeah, we've got our Duna burn plotted and ready to go. So let's set an alarm clock for that. And now we can get rid of the Duna launch window alarm clock because we've already got a ship taking advantage of that window. All right, so that's ready to go. So what to do until then? Well, I've actually got another mission lined up to do while we're waiting for that. Yeah, well, it's because I played this game a lot. I've made all the mistakes long ago. And that's why I thought it might be useful to stream this. Just, you know, give kind of a reference of what I've learned doing career mode Kerbal Space Program. So, another thing I've done while I was offline was unlock a bunch of, well, okay, actually, before I start building things, I want to get into one of the other interfaces. So I accepted this Explore Minmus contract, which is dock 2 vessels on or around Minmus. I don't have a good reason to do this, but what I do have is a vessel in orbit around Minmus that I actually put there a couple of streams ago. And it's a very basic vessel. It's basically just you know, the minimum ship that qualifies as a ship attached to a small docking port. And it's already orbiting Minmus, so I'll use it to do this docking mission. But I want the docking mission to still be useful, so let's go back into our assembly building, and let's load up the mission that I've set up. Minmus mission. Okay, so from top to bottom, we have got another satellite. This is basically the same type of satellite that I'm sending to Duna, except it's got a smaller relay antenna. And the reason why it's a smaller relay antenna is because it's only going to Minmus, so it's not going nearly as far away. It doesn't need to have nearly as powerful of an antenna to reach Kerbal. But aside from the antenna, it's the same craft. Now, connected below that is this science container unit. And it has a docking port on either side. And what I'm going to be doing is, well, I'll skip over this for the moment and explain this. This is all of the repeatable science experiments that you can do in on a planet or moon without an atmosphere. There is one more experiment that needs an atmosphere to do, but these are all the other ones. Basically, we got the Science Junior, the Mystery Goo, the Gravioli detector, the thermometer, the seismic accelerometer, which I think I unlocked offline, but it gets you readings when you're on the ground. It lets you detect little tremors in the ground. A barometer, and this that I know I unlocked offline is a magnometer, which only works in orbit. It only works in space, but it lets you detect magnetic fields around the planet. So those are all stuck together in one unit that have a docking port on either end, which makes this reusable. So I'm going to be landing this whole craft on the surface of Minmus. I'm going to be doing every science experiment available twice. I'm going to be loading the results of one copy of each of these experiments into the crew compartment here, and I'm going to be loading the results of the other copy of those experiments into the science container. And once we take off again from Minmus, I'm going to be docking that rendezvous target craft that I was talking about earlier onto the small docking port on top of the science container, and I'm going to be leaving that in Minmus orbit. That way, once I've got a station built around Minmus and I've got that science lab finished up its work around the Mun, and once that's done, I'll move it to Minmus, and I'll have all the science experiments that I need waiting for it. They'll all be just sitting in this container for it. So that's going to be our Minmus mission. And now I did not give it enough engine to actually get off the ground. I only put the engines that it's going to be using in space. So let's do that now. And see how much this weighs. About 13 tons, so this is going to need a bit more of a heavy-duty rocket to get into orbit. And let's load up our crew. Now, I have been landing a lot of these crew on the Mun and Minmus, but I do not have any engineers with a lot of experience. So that's what I'm going to do first of all, is to load an engineer onto this vessel, and he will get his experience for planting a flag on Minmus. And I'll be loading a scientist onto this vessel. Let's see. Okay, let's load her onto this vessel, and the main reason why I've got a scientist on this vessel is so that when we return, I'll be able to get the full value of all the science experiments that we're going to do. So now let's get back to building the craft. I think this might be all we need for an engine, but if it's not, we can just revert and try again. Let's see how this goes for the... Oh yeah, I think I need to give it more of a curve. overheating a bit, but that's fine. We've already cut out our engines, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem. Okay, we're not quite our... Well, I mean, technically we are on a suborbital trajectory. We're going to be breaking through the atmosphere, but not by a whole lot. So I'm going to have to do a bit more thrusting while we're still in the atmosphere, which is fine since we're so high up that even though air resistance is still a factor, it's not much fun. So let's go. Okay, and let's target Minmus. All right, so we're in orbit. I am not going to extend the solar panels on this satellite yet because we've got these solar panels on this ship. So because I can't retract these solar panels once they're extended, just to be safe, I'm going to leave them as they are for now. I'm also not going to extend the antenna because we've got this antenna here, and that'll do all we need. Once I've separated this satellite, then we'll start using this antenna. Let's get up into the general vicinity, and then let's do our adjustment. Okay. Yeah, that should be good. Thought I'd forgotten the science kit, but I hadn't checked for that while we were in the vehicle assembly building. But luckily, when I was building this mission earlier on, I did remember that. Okay, and now let's adjust our adjustment node to get us into the right orbit. Now I think this ship is exactly on the equator. Our rendezvous target might also be exactly on the equator. Or it might not. Actually, no, I don't think it is. So let's use this as our target. That's a ship that I rescued a Kerbal from to build up our crew. And what I like to do is capture in such a way that the periapsis lines up exactly with the ascending node or descending node, either one. So that way, when we do capture, our apoapsis will also be lined up with our, in this case, our ascending node, which means that when we do our plane change burn, it won't take too much fuel because we'll be going very slowly. And we've got a spammer, so I'm gonna have to blur them out of the YouTube VOD and report them once the stream is over. Let's save just to be safe and go to our next burn. I overshot the burn a little bit, so let's get that fixed. Okay, and the burn didn't go exactly the way I wanted, but I should be able to make some fine... Oh, actually, I think I might be alright. But yeah, let's do a little bit of fine-tuning here. Oh. Okay, I guess it's the other one that I need to burn at. Okay, that should be good. Engine to full power again, and let's set our other node. Set an alarm clock for that. And before I actually do that burn, I'm just going to check on our science lab, transmit all the data that it's got built up. No, it hasn't actually launched yet. I put it in orbit and set up a maneuver node for it, but we were 10 days off from that maneuver node, and I've been using that 10 days to do this Minmus mission, because it takes about 7 or 8 days to get to Minmus. once we're in orbit around Minmus, then I think I will, I'll do the Duna probe. And that Duna probe, I'll be launching it. I don't know if I'll just skip ahead until it actually reaches Duna, because it's going to take a while to get there. And let's go back to the tracking center and see if we've got any interesting missions that popped up in the few days that we skipped ahead. Surface outpost on the Mun. 6 Kerbals. Yeah, I don't have any reason to put a mobile processing lab on the Mun, so I won't be taking that mission. These seismic surveys are always a pain to do. I never do them. Yeah, I think that would be too hard to set up. And gravimetric surveys, I also don't do these. Let's see, orbital station around Kerbin. Yeah, I don't see myself putting 4,000 units of liquid fuel in a station. Well, I might later on when I'm sending something like to Elu, but no, I don't want that taking up one of my active contracts. Let me just check. Okay, we've got a lot of... Oh, science data from space around Kerbin. I can do that one fairly easily. Okay. So let's go back to our mission. And do that science data from around Kerbin. Do I have one of these in Kerbin yet? Actually, let's do all of these. Well, I don't need to do that one, but I'll transmit that one back so that I can, yeah, that way that contract gets completed. That one will give me a little bit if I recover it, but not too much. Will this one give me anything? Oh, this one will give me a bit. This one will also give me a bit. This one isn't worth it. Okay, and what about a crew report? That also won't be worth it. Okay, so I'm not... what I'd like to do is send a Kerbal out on EVA to go around all these experiments and collect their data, but if I did that right now, it would throw me off course slightly and I'd have to readjust, and I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to leave everything in its experiments until I get to Minmus and until I do that burn. Then I'll collect everything. Actually, yeah, I don't want to have all these stored in this container long term, but it'll be useful to have them in here just for now. Eventually, but almost certainly not on this stream. The mission that I'm sending to Duna is just a probe that will, and it's not even going to Duna. Yeah, no, that probe is not landing. It's staying in a polar orbit. It's going to be a relay satellite that'll let me maintain contact with other missions that I send to Duna, and it's going to scan for ore deposits, and that'll tell me where I should be doing my landing, so that I can land a mining outpost on Ike and use that to refuel my ship for the trip back. But again, that won't be for a while yet. Probably, almost certainly not on this stream, and I'm not sure how many more Kerbal yeah, I'm not sure how many more Kerbal streams I'm going to do, but one thing I have been thinking of is I'm actually going to be traveling at the end of August, and I won't be able to do a stream. But I'm thinking I might make an edited Kerbal Space Program video and put it up on YouTube that will, one of the problems with these streams is that once I get to the point where I'm just time skipping ahead and processing data and stuff, then it's not that interesting to watch live. But if I do an edited video on YouTube, then I can just skip over all those parts. So I'm thinking that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to put it up on YouTube during my normal scheduled upload time while I'm on my trip. That way, the YouTube algorithm will still think I'm keeping a steady schedule, which is good, because I'm actually been getting some views on YouTube lately. It's a tiny amount compared to what any reasonably successful channel gets, but it's big for me. And okay, we got 2 days until our Duna launch window. That should be enough time to get into orbit. Okay, and yeah. Now before I go into a low orbit, I'm actually going to get rid of this probe, because I should be able to, I should be able to do everything I need to do for this using its ion engine, because Minmus has such low gravity that the amount of fuel I have in here will, I mean, it's giving me almost 3,000 meters per second, and that's way more than I need to do basically anything I'd want to do at Minmus. Now, normally I don't like to do this. I don't like to capture into an equatorial orbit and then maneuver into a polar orbit. I like to capture into a polar orbit to begin with, but again, since Minmus is so small and its gravity is so low, then I can afford to waste a little bit of fuel on this sort of thing. So, but I'm not going to be doing that just yet. I'm going to be taking care of this mission first, and then I'm going to go back to the Minmus probe and get it into position. And now let's send Tambo on EVA. Because we're not on a precise course anymore. Restore that. Restore that. And take our data. Okay, and while I'm up here, I might as well do all the experiments that I can do up here too. So let's conduct a material study. Log our temperature. Do a history goo. This I can't do while I'm in orbit. It'll say seismic scan can't be done right now. Do a temperature, do a magnetometer report. And do a gravity scan. And transfer that into the container really quickly and do another one. Midlands, was it Midlands in here too? Yeah, okay, good. I like to have both copies of the gravity scan over the same section of the planet. So let's transfer all these. Well, let's do a crew report and let's transfer everything into it. Now I can't redo my Science Junior and Mystery Goo just yet because I have to reset those manually with scientists, so I'll do that now. And let's get our crew report. Do a little bit of EVA science. Do another EVA report. Do the science again. This side, collect everything. What do I still have? Oh, my EVA report. Okay, I guess I must have already stored an EVA report in here. So I can just get rid of that. And yeah, so we get 13 and not 8. Just see if I collect all. Okay, no, I won't get anything. What are there 5? Oh, I've got some Kerbin experiments here. Okay, so I'm gonna have to fix that. So let's EVA. Let's take our data and let's switch back to the ship and collect all. And okay, now we've got our 13 because we did a few experiments in high Kerbin orbit that we will want to take back with us, but we don't want to be leaving copies of those experiments around Minmus since they're not going to do any good there. Oh, and yeah, I did go a little bit off course, so let's fix that. We're not going to be perfectly aligned with the equator, but I don't think that'll be too much of a problem. Actually, I'm going to increase my engine power by a little bit. It doesn't take as long to make the adjustment we need to make. Okay. Now let's get into low Minmus orbit. Now we're lined up with our maneuver node, but okay, good. We are getting sunlight. Because one of the things that can screw you up is if you have your solar panels just going around the edge like this, and you end up pointing directly towards or away from the sun, because then the solar panels won't be getting any sunlight, and you'll run out of battery power, and that is not good because you can't maneuver yourself to face the sun again if you don't have battery power. So you're gonna have to either reload a save or cheat or do something else to try to get a little bit more power again so that you can fix yourself. How close? Okay, we're still a day away from our node, from our burn. So let's do all those experiments again, but this time in low orbit. And that's lowlands. Let's transfer that quickly. Are we still lowlands? Yes, good. We're still over the lowlands. So now let's transfer everything else. And redo that experiment. Transfer, redo. Transfer, and while we're waiting for that to happen, let's get our crew report. And then let's redo the experiment. Oh, right, yeah, because I already transferred it. Okay. So now let's save, just to be safe. Okay, that one experiment that I still have should be the crew report, and yes, it is. So let's do our EVA report, our EVA science. Store all that. Do another EVA report, more EVA science. And let's gather our data. Take it. Oops. Sorry. Wait, did I not transfer the data from this? I guess I didn't. Okay, so let's restore, take the data, do the experiment, collect, restore, I already take the data from this. Yes, I did. I took it from that. Did I take it from this? Yes, I did. What do I have doubled up on? Oh, yeah. I wasn't sure what I'd done there. I'd hit the wrong button. Okay, now how much time do I have left? More than a day. So let's do our landing. No, I haven't gone to Eve. I haven't done a single thing around Eve. This Duna probe will be my first interplanetary mission. I want to land around here. Well, my first interplanetary mission for this game. I've gone to Eve on my own time in other games, but in this one that I've been streaming, I haven't. Oh, I should extend my antenna. This career mode that I've been streaming, so far everything I've done has just been around Kerbin, the Mun, and Minmus. Well, this Eve launch window, that is the first Eve launch window in the game, so really I couldn't have sent anything to Eve. I haven't got a transfer window there yet. I'll probably be sending in a probe there shortly, though. If by shortly, I mean in 356 days of in-game time. Radial out is really useful for landing. This, if you're in surface mode and set to radial out, it keeps you perfectly vertical, which is what you want to be when you're landing. All right, now let's do our science experiments again. This time we can use our accelerometer because we're on the ground. We can't use this magnetometer boom, which is fine because that experiment takes so long to do that it's annoying anyway, so I'm kind of glad that I can't do it on the ground. Let's transfer all this into our thing. Let's get a crew report. Okay, has everything been transferred? I think everything has. Let's redo the experiments because, as I said, we're getting 2 copies of every experiment, one to take home and one to leave in the experiment container here to be analyzed once we've got the station in place. Oh yeah, I've gone to even back on different saves. I've done the... Oh, okay. I've gone to every planet and moon in the game on various saves, just not on this one. Okay. Luckily, Minmus has such low gravity that even if we're kind of on our side, I should be able to still get into orbit. Now I need to stop bouncing. Yeah, I didn't quite get it back up, but that's okay. And let's do our on-the-ground stuff. EVA report, surface sample, EVA science. Let's plant our flag, and I'm going to be taking this down right away, but need to plant the flag to get flag experience for these Kerbals. Let's do our science again. Oh, I already did the science. What do I still have? Crew report? Did I not store that? $32 here, 25 here. Did I not do some of the Let's just make sure. No. Maybe it was the EVA stuff that I didn't do. So let me do that again. Okay, yeah. That is what I was missing. Yeah. Okay, now let's see if we can get back upright. And we can. So let's get back into orbit. That's not what I wanted to do. This is what I wanted to do. Now you might have noticed that this ship I'm in isn't actually designed for re-entry. It doesn't have any parachutes, it doesn't have a heat shield. That's because it's not going to be re-entering into Kerbin's atmosphere. I'm going to be using the extra fuel I have and going to the Mun and doing all these science experiments there too. And then I'm going to be using a re-entry craft that I already have docked at the Mun to get these guys back to Kerbin. Of course, that means I won't have a craft to get the people currently in the science lab back to Kerbin, so I'm going to have to come up with another arrangement when they're ready to come home. But that won't be for a while yet, so they can just stay up there. Still got more than a day until our Duna launch window, so let's do our thing with the rendezvous target. Now this doesn't have any of my autopilot assist options here because I launched this way back when the only pro cores I had were not very good. Oh, that was way too much. Okay, I don't think I need to make any more adjustments, so now let's set our rendezvous maneuver node. That is in 2 hours, which I've got to check every time to make sure that I don't overshoot my my Duna launch. That's okay. I should be able to make this maneuver and still have plenty of time to launch my Duna probe. Now I have to do a bit more fine-tuning here to make sure my rendezvous is exactly on target. And I got to do it all manually because this thing doesn't even have prograde and retrograde hold. And I'm going to have to do my docking on the night side of Minmus, which always seems to happen. Oh no. Okay, I'm going to have to reload my save here because not only is it the night side of Minmus, it's also the dark side of Minmus. So, okay. Actually, let's see. Yeah, I think this should be reasonably close because the problem was that when I got to the point where I had to do my rendezvous, I was out of communication range. I think I had Minmus in between myself and Kerbin, so I couldn't communicate with the probe and I couldn't make any manual controls. And since this one has a very rudimentary probe core, I kind of need manual controls. So what I'm hoping is that I'll be able to get my speed matched with the other ship closely enough that I won't drift too far away as we move around to the near side of Minmus and get back into communications range. So that I just have to make sure that I'm already pointing in more or less the right direction. This is a lot less than more, but maybe it'll be enough. Oh, no, it wasn't enough, so I'm gonna have to kind of cheat and take advantage of the fact that I knew where the retrograde node ended up on my last save and hope to get a little bit closer this time. Oh yeah, this should be better. Okay, now I'm still not quite matched velocities because that 2.2 meters per second, but let's see how far we drift away by the time we get back into communication. There we are. We're in communication. We're still pretty close, still within visual range. So let's get our speeds matched properly. And now let's go towards the thing. Okay. Let's get pointed back towards the ship. And get our ship pointed back towards the probe, if I can find the probe. Oh, I think... yeah, there it is. Where is it on the nav bar? Oh, there it is. Okay. Get this pointed back again, because it's changed a little bit, but... okay, 0.3 is good. So let's do our docking. Okay, so we've accomplished that mission. It says we've started constructing a station around Minmus. It just assumes that anytime you dock two ships together that you're building a space station, even if you're not. But we've done a docking maneuver, which is the same thing. And we've finished that contract. And now I can detach this. Now you might have noticed that these are not the same size docking ports. I can attach them together like this in the vehicle assembly building without a problem, but once they're detached from each other, I can't detach them again. I'm going to have to wait until I get another vessel in here with a small docking port before I can dock this thing with anything again. But that's okay. That's all part of the mission. Yeah, so... so now it's just waiting in orbit for a station to come to be set up. And now this can go to the Mun, because I'm going to be landing on the Mun and doing all those experiments again. Let's see, how much time do we have? Okay, 3 hours. And that transfer node is 4 days away, so obviously we're not going to be doing that transfer before we send our Duna probe off, but we can set it up. Now this is minus 119.8, which means that it's getting us to the wrong side of the Mun, so we need to fix that. and try to get my node on the periapsis. This is not cooperating. I gotta go the other way. Okay, let's try a different tactic for this. Let's just completely zero out our normal, anti-normal, and set the Mun as our target. Okay. And then we should be able to do our adjustments at that node there. So, yeah, and it already automatically set an alarm clock entry for us because I use the maneuver node planner here, the maneuver tool. Okay, now let's look at our Minmus satellite, which is saying it's calling itself Minmus mission, which I don't like, so I'm going to change that. I'm going to want to do my maneuver at the apoapsis. Am I past the apoapsis? No, I am not. That's good. And let's just see, what altitude do I have to be at for this to work? Between 25 kilometers and 300 kilometers. So to be safe, I'm gonna get myself to 250. And now I want to get my inclination to 90 degrees. What's my periapsis? It's a little bit below 250, so let's adjust that. And the inclination is still 90 degrees, so that should be good. So yeah, our maneuver wasn't actually that big. It didn't need that many meters per second of delta V, but as you can see, it's still taking a long time to do it because these ion engines really don't put out a lot of power. So if you're going to use them for something like a capture or a transfer or anything that really needs a lot of power, then well, be careful is all I'd have to say. They're good for small tasks like this, though. Okay, so we are at 90-degree inclination. That's good. And our periapsis is 250. So set a node here to circularize. And set an alarm clock for the node. Now this is going to happen after the Duna launch, though. So let's switch to that and get that done. Okay, our probe is on its way. Let's set up our next maneuver for it. Wait, it's not doing an encounter. There it goes. Yeah, those burns are never perfect, so you always have to do some fine-tuning. So now I want to capture add Ike, so set Ike as the target. Bring myself in. Now, the atmosphere on Duna is 50 kilometers, so I don't want my probe to be going any lower than that. And yeah, that looks to be about as close as I can get the descending node to the periapsis, but that should be fine. But oh, okay. on this trajectory, I'll be encountering Ike, which I don't really want to do. But if I do my capture, yeah, okay. Even before I've captured, I'll have, yeah, okay, so I should be fine. Because even a regular capture will adjust my trajectory enough so that I miss Ike, because what I'm going to be doing is going to be capturing like this, then I'm going to be setting another maneuver to reach Ike at close to the bottom of its orbit. This isn't really that close, so I'll be making some fine adjustments once I'm actually to the point where I can set up this this maneuver properly. But yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing. It's the only maneuver node I really wanted to set up here was my adjustment node here. So and our first interplanetary mission is on its way. It'd be nice if we could see it a little bit better, but oh, thanks. Yeah, I guess I'd appreciate that. We're getting close to the end of the stream. I usually stop at around 9 o'clock, but I really appreciated you sticking around. Thanks. And of course, I'm going to be posting these on YouTube as well. The link is in my profile. So you'll be able to watch the full stream there, and it'll actually be a little bit higher quality because I base my YouTube uploads on my local recordings, which are done at a higher resolution than what I stream to Twitch. So now let's finish our satellite mission. Okay, let's see, our inclination is still 90 degrees, we're at 250, 250, so now I should be able to do a proper orbital survey. And now we know where our ore deposits are. Well, not quite, because it's has a cutoff at 0. Even with a 0 cutoff, there are still some places that apparently have less than 0 ore. But let's see if we got any good landing spots. This might be good, though it's not on one of the planes. What I was really hoping for is one of these planes, which is completely flat land, would have an ore deposit, and I can't really tell if there are any like that on the backside of Minmus, but I don't think there are. So when I do my landings, it'll be on slightly uneven terrain, but that's okay. Yeah, this looks like it's going to be my best place to land, but I'm not going to be doing the landings just yet, and I don't need to keep that as my target. So let's transmit our science from our lab again. That'll bring me up to 151.4. Will that let me unlock anything good? So I'm not racing against the clock to get to Duna anymore. Yeah, the next launch window is to Eve, and the ship I'll be sending to Eve will be basically the same as the one that I just sent to Duna. It'll be the same kind of relay satellite, but I'll be putting in orbit around Gilly this time. And Joule I'll need new parts for, because I'm going to need a new power source for that, because Joule is so far away from the sun that solar panels don't really work that well when you're out there. Same for Elu. But those are the only deadlines that we have right now, and they're pretty far off. I don't think it'll be too hard for me to get enough science for that. Especially since I think my Ike mission will have arrived by then. Let's actually check. So our Duna periapsis is in 270 days. So yeah, that's going to be before the Joule launch window, and I'll be able to get quite a bit of science from that. And then, of course, it'll still be the science that my science lab around the Mun is gathering. So, yeah, I don't think hitting that Joule launch window deadline will be a problem. But let's see if there's anything I can unlock now. I mean, it will eventually be useful for me to unlock this aviation stuff, but I usually put it at a fairly low priority. Now this would be very useful. I can't unlock this, I don't have enough science for it, but that'll give me some really nice probe cores that'll let me use the full range of maneuver options. It'll make piloting way easier. Now these fuel cell arrays will let me burn rocket fuel to generate electricity, which is useful when you're far from the sun, but I prefer, on small ships at least, to use one of these, which doesn't generate nearly as much power, but it just keeps generating power. You don't have to worry about running out of fuel for it. It just keeps pumping out power indefinitely. I think the real world versions of these run on a little bit of radioactive material, and they don't run forever, but they run for decades. But the Kerbal ones just run forever. So I tend to put at least one of these on my ships that are going to Joule and Elu. But that'll take quite a bit to unlock, though. These are more command modules, so those will be useful, but I don't know if they're useful enough to make them the next thing that I'll unlock. These could be useful. And these will let me grab onto other craft even if I don't have a docking port, which is necessary for some things I have to do, like cleaning up the debris that I currently have in orbit from the rescue missions. I don't like to leave debris in orbit, but when you do a rescue mission, their craft is it's going to be in orbit, and at the beginning of the game, you don't have a good way to get them out of orbit, so I just tend to leave them there. These will also be useful. I don't know if they'll be useful just yet. And again, these are useful, but I don't know about yet. I think I'm going to wait. I'm not going to unlock anything yet, and I'm going to make my next unlock this, because once I get these probe cores, then I can really start building designs that are going to last, because these never really become obsolete. There is a better probe core that I put on some space stations, not all of my space stations, just some of them. But its extra features aren't really all that useful. These probe cores I never use. They're for some specialized missions that I just use the standard probe cores for them. So yeah, I'm not going to unlock anything. But what I will have to do is my Minmus mission is going to the Mun, like I said earlier, but it doesn't have enough fuel to land, I don't think, so I'm going to have to send a new refueling ship. And since I'm sending a refueling ship, I mentioned earlier that I don't actually have a craft to get my crew back to Kerbin, and I did have an elaborate plan in mind for that, to bring them back in a reusable craft that I plan to launch later on, and then have them go through re-entry in some of the pods that I left behind from my rescue missions. But I don't think I'll bother with that. I think I'll just send another re-entry vehicle with another load of fuel, because the Minmus mission that's going to the Mun right now, it's not going to have enough fuel to land and take off again. So I'm going to have to give a bit of extra fuel to my station. Let's see if I fill that. Fill this. First of all, okay, and in vacuum. That gives me a lot of fuel, but I prefer to have a little bit more. Okay, that's good. And now if I drain all the fuel out of this one and only use this, then that should leave me with enough fuel to get back to Kerbin. So that'll be good. Oh, and let's give myself a little bit later. Actually, before I go any further with this, let me just verify how much fuel I need to get out of Mun orbit and onto a re-entry course. So I'll save my game, undock this. Let's see how, yeah, I don't have much fuel. And I'm not actually going to be doing this maneuver, but if I plot it, .30 kilometers should be good, and yeah, that takes 240.9 meters per second, more or less. So, yeah, the 300 and some that I have in that tank should be good, because what I want to do is take that ship to the Mun, load it up with fuel, load the Mun station up with fuel. Oh, okay, wait. I screwed up. I did not want to go back to the Space Center because I don't want to leave that lander undocked. Let's reload my save from before I undocked. This was just a test to see how much fuel I'd need to get home. Okay, so the plan is that well, let's get back into the vehicle assembly building. Now, is our ship still going to be there? No, it's not. So the plan is that I'll send this ship up to the Mun. I'll unload all the fuel from this tank into the Mun station, all the fuel that I still have left after the fuel that I use getting to the Mun. But I'll leave this smaller tank full, and I'll use the fuel in that smaller tank to get back to Kerbin. Let's give it a little bit of a blader, because I'm not going to have enough fuel to slow down too much. And we don't need these ladders, we need a docking port. And how much do we weigh? 13 tons, that should be decent amount for a Mammoth engine. I think it's called the Mammoth engine. I'll have to double check that. Oh wait, before I wrap this up, it's going to need solar panels. And let's give a little bit of tilt to this antenna. I don't think that really makes a difference, but I like to do it anyway. MoneyB0, thanks for following. Actually, let me get my proper Twitch window open so I can see what's going on. Yeah. All right. Oh, yeah, it was the twin bore, not the Mammoth. The Mammoth is the bigger one. But twin bores are useful because they got the engine and the fuel tank all in one convenient package, which is good if you have heavier loads to launch. Now that would be annoying if the engine and fuel tank were not the right size for each other, but they actually are. There's a lot of launches where this is pretty useful. Let me make sure I don't have a crew. No, I don't have a crew. Sometimes crews can kind of sneak aboard these things. Oh, and I didn't check my staging, so now that won't save if I need to revert, but hopefully I won't need to revert. Oh, wait. I will need to revert. Because this space bus, apparently I never replaced its probe core. I still have an obsolete probe core in here. So let's open this up. Get rid of everything. Get rid of this and replace it with that. And this probe core really needs an extra reaction. Oh no, I've already got a reaction in there, so. Yeah. And now I can check my staging. And now it will stay intact even if I revert. But I don't think I'm going to need to revert. I think I got this on the right angle. Usually takes me a bit of trial and error to get my launch curving the right way, but it looks like I got it first try this time. target them on while we're waiting to get up into our high altitude. I definitely didn't overbuild this rocket, so that's good. And I think once I've finished this moon landing and everything, then I'll be able to call it a night, which is good because, you know, the next interesting thing I'll be doing in this game will probably be to actually have my probe arrive at Duna. But I'll have to skip ahead a lot for that to happen, and skipping ahead isn't very interesting to stream. So, yeah, I think I'll do that offline in between streams so that next week when I stream again, we'll be at an interesting part again. So I'm not sure how many more Kerbal streams I'd like to do before I move on to another game, because I will be participating in Septandy in September. That's an event that a lot of gaming streamers and YouTubers participate in, where they stream things from the Tandy company, which was the parent company of Radio Shack, and was the company that built the first computer I ever owned, which was a Coco 2 that my family had back in the 80s. And, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. And I did stream some of the games from my childhood that I had played on a Coco 2 back then, but this time I was playing them on an emulator. But I did that for last year's stream, and this year I plan to stream some games that I didn't play, because I had the Coco 2, I did not have a Coco 3. And the Coco 2 wasn't really an upgrade over the Coco 1, it was just a cosmetic change. But the Coco 3 was a new piece of hardware, and so the games that were available for it, I couldn't play at all back when I was a kid, and I still haven't played any of them. So that's my plan for September, is to stream some Coco 3 games. Although I will be streaming at least one Coco 2 game, because there was an adventure game called Coco Zone that I wasn't able to finish before the end of the month last time, and I think I'll try to finish that in my first stream this time. Okay, got to do a little bit of fine tuning. Oh, that's fine tuning in the wrong direction. All right, now I should be able to capture this. I'm gonna have to check on my Explore contracts, because I don't think I accepted another one once I finished that Minmus one. I'm gonna have to see what's available. It'll probably be an Eve contract. If I get a good one that doesn't involve a return trip, then I'll accept it. Because I don't want to be doing any return trips from Eve just yet. I just want to send out a probe like what I'm sending to Duna. If I had to make it go both ways, that would really complicate things. Don't like to do return trips until I have refueling set up, but that's still a few steps off. Where am I? Oh, there I am. There, that should be good. Okay, puts us on target. fine-tuning in the wrong direction. I can fix that. Now I should be able to do the rendezvous. Now that I think of it, I could have launched a satellite with this ship too, like I did with the Minmus one. But the Mun is big enough that I would prefer not to. Oh, no. Okay. I time warped a little bit too much, but that's okay. I wasted a bit of fuel, but not too much. But as I was saying, the Mun has enough gravity that I'd prefer not to try to get into a polar orbit from an equatorial orbit. So the mission wouldn't have been set up the same way that the Minmus mission was. Still, I could have stuck a satellite at the end of this with its own engines on it and sent it to Mun on its own course, but I didn't. Okay, so now let's do our fuel transfers. Make sure that this tank is full because we're going to need it to get back to Kerbin. And then transfer this tank into here. And that should give me plenty of fuel for the landing. Okay, and that landing, okay, the burn is 1 day away. We're past the normal end of the stream, but I'd like to finish this mission. Explore Eve, flyby. I mean, that doesn't involve a return trip, but I think I'll hold out for a better mission than that, because I'll be doing more than just flying by Eve. I'll be orbiting around Eve and orbiting around Gilly, and I'd like to get some credit for those too. Oh, plant flag on the Mun. I'm going to be doing that, so I might as well take a contract for it. Okay. Wait. No, I didn't need to go into the tracking station. I just could have gotten there from the alarm clock. Oh. If you have problems with flashing lights, then you shouldn't have watched that. I think I'll have to do some editing, jiggery pokery in the bod. we've entered orbit. That's our Duna probe. It's arrived in orbit of the sun. That's nice. I think I'll be switching to that and doing some science with it as soon as I'm finished with this. Okay, yeah, that should be able to get on my correct trajectory with this. Have to do some skipping ahead by about 12 days, but that should be fine. There, 12 kilometers should be a good altitude to capture into. Pretty low, but with a bit of a safety margin. Do some fine tuning. It's a little bit lower than I had initially plotted, but that's why I gave myself a safety margin. Let's get a little bit finer in our tuning. Ah! Okay, that's about as close as I'm gonna get. Oh, is that a recent message? Oh, did you get around Duna? No. The probe is it's on its way, but it's not around Duna yet. It's in interplanetary space between Kerbin and Duna. I'm going to be switching to it once I've got this set up here. So yeah, here's my satellite. It is it's on its way. That's Kerbin. That's the satellite. And there is Duna. So it's got a long way to go, but it's getting there. It's on the right course. And yeah, this might actually be a decent yeah, okay. I'm just gonna hold this for a second. There. I think that might be a decent thumbnail. Actually, just getting this into a couple other positions so that my logo won't be in the way. There. Between that, I should have a decent shot for the thumbnail. Ah, no, it's no problem. You had stuff to do. And yeah, I'm getting to the end of this stream, but I would like to finish my my landing on the mud before I do that. Do I have... Yes, I do have communication, but I'm on the far side of the mun. Am I... Oh, I'm bouncing my signal off of that... Oh, I will be speeding up. But I'm gonna get my science from this lab first. But yeah, that was kind of funny that I'm bouncing my signal from the mun to that satellite, because even though it's not in position yet, it's still acting as a relay, and it's still being useful, because I wouldn't be able to transmit this science if I didn't have that out there. Or actually, no, I probably could, because I could have bounced it off of the satellite orbiting Minmus. Okay, so let's do this landing, and then once we've landed and gone back to Kerbin, then that'll be the end of this stream. Let's speed up time. Or did you mean why don't you speed up as in why don't I speed up on my way to Duna? That's because the trajectory I'm on right now is the best in terms of fuel efficiency, and I only brought enough fuel for an efficient transfer. If I sped up, I'd actually end up missing Duna. That's why the transfer window is so important, because that lets me launch at the right time to hit Duna if I'm using the most efficient path. Oh, okay. I don't have a signal now, but that should be fine. But so if I sped up that probe now, then it would end up getting to Duna's orbit before Duna actually got there. So it would just fly off into space, and I wouldn't be able to do anything with it. Okay. Now, I had to do that without a radio signal, so I wasn't able to be as precise as I wanted to be. Let's try to get back into radio communication range. There we are. And... Oh, and that was our initial capture, so it doesn't matter that we overshot the burn a little bit, because that just meant that our apoapsis is a little bit lower, but it wasn't on any kind of precise target anyway. I just wanted to get it to a point where it would be high enough that I'd be going pretty slowly, but low enough that it wouldn't take me ages to get to the maneuver point. And a little bit of fine-tuning on my orbital plane. That should be good. Okay, yeah, if I just stay lined up with my maneuver node, then I'll probably run out of power, so gotta make sure I've got my solar panels pointing toward the sun. And I'm still out of communication range. Once I've got a satellite in orbit around the Mun, then this shouldn't happen nearly as often, but I don't have one. So whenever I need to do a maneuver on the far side of the Mun, I have to do it without proper communication with Kerbin. Okay. I overshot, but that's as good as I'm going to get. Okay, now I can do my fine-tuning. Okay. Oh no, I think I screwed that up. Let me see. Oh, I'm still high. Because I want to get all my science here too. Oh, actually, I think my my station is technically high over the Mun, so actually I don't need to worry about this at all. But I might as well get it all done anyway. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to dock to the other lander, but I'm not gonna be using the other lander, so that's all right. Why can't I transfer this data? Or is it because I'm uploading? Wait for that to finish. No, I still can't transfer. That's odd. So I'm gonna have to manually do my data transfer. Let's transfer that into here. I think this is where I was storing my data. Yeah, this is where I'm storing my data. Okay. Now let's level us up. Oh, no connection available. Well, while we're waiting for that, let's get some more fuel in here. Using a small tank to transfer fuel so that I can do it bit by bit without without using the whole tank, but still keeping things in balance between the liquid fuel and the oxidizer. And our orbital speed is 463 meters per second. We need a little bit more than the orbital speed to land as a general rule of thumb. So let's see how much delta V we have in this thing now. We might be able to do a landing with that, but I wouldn't risk it. I want a little bit more margin for error. So let's put some more fuel in here. And build this back up again, because I don't want to accidentally forget to fill this tank up and then not be able to use this to get a crew back to Kerbin. Actually, before I do that quick save, I'm gonna take all of my scientific observations from up here, because I'm going to be loading them up into... no, I'm not going to be loading them up into this. I'm going to be loading them up into that. For when I go back to Kerbin. Maybe I can't transfer because I'm not in control of this vessel right now because I don't have a radio link. But anyway, let's grab this data. Wait, why do I not have... that's not where I want to put it. I want to put it in this one. Okay, that should be all the data I need. Okay, no, I don't have an extra parachute. I was just looking at the wrong thing. I was looking at this crew cabin, which is supposed to have an extra parachute. Okay. Oh, and I'm back in communication range, which means I can level up my crew. So now they get their proper experience from landing on Minmus. Now let's get them landed on the Mun. Yeah, that should be enough fuel. And let's just make sure that this is controlling from the right point. Now, if I thrusted now, it would hit the station with my back launch, which wouldn't damage it, but it would knock the station off course, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to wait until I'm a little bit further away, and now I'll get into a low orbit. Now, it might make sense to do all those experiments again in low orbit, but I don't have a science container on this ship, and some probe cores can also act as science containers, but the one I'm using right now can't. I would need a more advanced probe core than what I have, and I don't have one of those unlocked yet. So all I can do is store one copy of the experiments on... Actually, no. I will do one copy of the experiments and load them onto the crew capsule. But normally I'd take a second copy so that I have one copy to bring back to Kerbin and one copy to process in the lab. This time I think I'm going to not bother processing anything in the lab because I can use my other lander to go into low Kerbin orbit and grab those extra experiments then. Because this science module is detachable. So yeah, let's get our Experiments done. Now a lot of these have already been done, so they're not going to get me very much science, if any. But some of them haven't been done yet. Like this one. And I'm pretty sure all of my EVA data and crew data and EVA experiment data that I need a Kerbal for, I think that's already been done, so I'm not going to bother with that. Okay. That's all of our low orbit data. And now we can land. So let's get into a good position that has sunlight and also has communication with Kerbin, which means I got to do another orbit because around here would be the best place for that. Okay. Now let's, okay. Oh, no. We almost fell over again, and this time that would have been much worse. Because the Mun does have high gravity, so it would have been a lot harder for... Okay, are we stopped? Okay, we've stopped. We've stopped wobbling. Now let's go to stability assist mode, and... Okay, we've stopped wobbling. First, let's do all of our experiments. need to do that experiment again. No, 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 no. Oh, no. Okay. I'm going to reload my save. Let's extend our ladder just so that we don't have to wait. Okay. Now let's save again. It's still falling. Okay. That's what happens when you make a lander without any landing legs. Not actually a very good idea. Okay, no, we're going way too fast. Okay, let's stop wobbling. Okay, we've stopped wobbling. Let's get out. Oh no. Oh, okay, that was bad. What if I went out? Oh, okay. If I went out the other side. You know what? I'm not going to bother. Because I think I can still get off the ground. Let's plant our flag. I'm not going to save at any point during this process, though, because I don't trust myself that much. Okay. Now let's see if we can get off the ground. And we can! We're in the air! So yeah, that wasn't so bad. Gotta adjust our trajectory a bit because we started going in the wrong direction, but even that is okay now. What? Did I not have enough fuel? Okay. We got a fuel problem. And this might take me a while to fix. So, yeah, I'm going to leave this as it is because I'm already past the point where I normally stop streaming. But I'll have this fixed by next stream. Just assume that I got back into orbit and everything worked well. And yeah, I'll be back next week with more Kerbal Space Program, and I'll have skipped ahead a bit, I think, to at least where the Duna probe reaches Duna, and hopefully we'll still have some interesting things to do. So I'll see you then. Again, it's Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, same time as usual. Shortly after I finished the stream, I discovered that if I exited my Kerbal from the downward-leaning side of the ship and did not immediately switch back to the ship to keep it pointing radial out, the ship would remain upright. I did that, completed my landing, did my science, and returned to the ship. Since it was still upright, I was able to launch using a more efficient trajectory that just barely got me into a low Mun orbit. I then used one of my return shuttles to rendezvous with the lander and dock. I transferred my Kerbals, my science, and my experiment module to the shuttle and used the few drops of fuel that I had left on the lander to crash it into the Mun, which I'd been planning on doing after the mission anyway. I brought the shuttle back to the Mun station where I was able to drop off the experiment module and use the shuttle for its intended purpose and return my Kerbals to Kerbin. They were able to re-enter and land without a problem and arrived on the surface safe and sound, bringing lots of science which I'll be using to unlock new parts for my next stream. Hope to see you then.